Rocket in the sky, catch your eye, please don't cry, wait goodbye. I survived all them dark, cold nights. Star, I am bright, I don't die, I won't lie. I'm just trying to be the best I could be and achieve my dream.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sober Street Podcast. You're listening to and watching an addiction-based recovery podcast. Today, we have two guests. This is the first time ever. We have Chris and Max from Addiction to Recovery podcast. Welcome, gentlemen. How you doing?
Very well, sir. Very well.
Thanks for having us, man.
First question, guys. How'd you meet?
In the rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm 5 years clean coming up, and you're 3, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah.
So,
But look, first time I met you, I was actually still using.
yeah.
Do you remember when I bounced into that meeting?
Yeah, with your
my
mum. Yeah.
Was you?
Yeah. And
What-
I come in.
What heavy using?
Yeah, I was using at the meeting.
Okay.
That's how bad I was.
Yeah.
Telling everyone, oh yeah, I'm going to sort it out.
Yeah.
Come with me to a meeting, mum, to try and prove the point, and I'm in the toilet having a pinch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was there.
And he was there.
He bowled in like this, massive ego on his shoulders. I was like, no chance.
Broken person, but just outwardly still all the bravado, give it a big one.
So you thought, no chance, he can't get it? Or
Seen it a few times.
Yeah.
I bounced in like that when I first came around, and I think they say in recovery, well, our fellowship that we're part of, they say leave your ego at the front door.
Yeah, I get that.
Because you can't walk in thinking you're the man, because at the end of the day, I walked in thinking that, and really, Stu, I had fuck all. I had nothing. My missus had left me, my kids weren't in my life. Like things were falling apart around me, but I still thought I had it all going on. Do you know what I mean?
So you suffered like I suffer with that high ego,
Yeah.
low self-esteem,
Massively,
more
yeah.
fucking crippling anxiety, feeling like you're a piece of shit, but telling the world that you're the dog's bollocks.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
That one. And you come in the rooms that night when he was there exactly the same.
Pretty much. Just like huge ego, loads of bravado, very low self-worth. And outwardly just trying to project this tough exterior, and just felt like a young child inside. You know what I mean?
What? And why was you at that meeting? Because
I knew I had a problem.
Right, okay.
Consequences were
Consequences were catching up on me, right? I knew I needed to do something about it. My using had progressed to the point where I was using cocaine daily.
Yeah.
I was using weed to try and go to sleep. I was taking loads of benzos to try and go to sleep. Basically just using round the clock.
Fucked.
Ways and means to get more and call it in our fellowship was ramping up. I was stealing.
Yeah.
I was taking things from people that were closest to me because I didn't have the bollocks to go out there and do it on the street.
Yeah, mate.
And,
yeah.
Basically, I knew at that point that I needed to change, and unfortunately, I wasn't ready.
Okay.
But the seed was planted. I got to the meetings, like I said, I met Max, I met some other people, I met my sponsor, who's my sponsor now,
Cool.
during that time. So it wasn't wasted.
No, mate, it's never wasted.
Never wasted. I say to anyone, if you get to a meeting and you don't end up staying, you've still been to a meeting. You've still read them steps on the book.
Yes.
You still had that seed planted. So yeah, it's unfortunately, from when I first met Max, it took me another 2 years to get it.
I think the difference was when you came in, he had this smiley face on. This is with his mum the first time. Smiley face, like still bouncing into the room. And I was thinking, I didn't come in like that. I came in broken, crying, didn't want to speak to anyone. And that's why I thought to myself,
He ain't ready.
he's not ready to come
Yeah,
in.
and do you know what? That's an hard reality, isn't it? Because, I have this chat regularly with people in the service that we run, and if they're not from my background, your background, our background collectively, this addiction background, they will look at someone and go, well, how can you say that they're not ready? I know, and I feel like I know. And it's that same feeling, like it's just the face, the look, what you're saying, what you're not saying, isn't it? And you think,
Well, they call
it needs a bit more.
the gift of desperation.
Yeah, mate.
And that means that you're so battered, you're so bruised, you're rock bottom. No doors are left open. The only door that was open for me was the door to recovery. And you need that. Well, I needed that gift to actually think, fuck, I ain't got anywhere else to turn it. Do you know what I mean? For the first time in a long time, I opened my ears up and started to listen to people who had clean time in the rooms. If I'd have bounced in 2 weeks before, I always say this, say if my family had done an intervention 2 weeks before my rock bottom, I'd have bounced in like Chris.
You think? Yeah.
I think so. And I might not be sat here today because I needed to be in the gutter to then just have a bit of a reset and let's go. Do you know what I mean? I needed all those doors to be shut to think, fuck, I need to change the way. My way ain't working because I was a multiple relapser. Even when I weren't in recovery, I just used to say to my missus every single week, I'm not doing it again, not doing it. And for me, that's a relapse because I'm going back on my word, and it needed a real big life moment for me to think, fuck, I need to sort my shit out. And then you come in, 2 years after that, I suppose.
Yeah, well, look, a lot of fuckery in between then. Jesus Christ. It was like, I got 100 days clean in 2018.
Okay.
And that was the biggest chunk of recovery I'd ever had. I was doing meetings regularly, 5-6 meetings a week. And
was you cracking on with a program and a sponsor?
well, I had a sponsor, just getting into a sponsor. I hadn't started the steps yet.
Right.
Basically, what they say is do 90 and 90, and then we'll work the steps after your 90 and 90. So I was just on the cusp of getting ready to work the steps with my sponsor, and took my self-will back. Thought it'd be a good idea. So my clean date was the 5th of November, firework night.
Right.
100 days after that is Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So it's Valentine's Day. I've been out for dinner with the missus. Probably a little roundabout, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like normal Valentine's Day stuff. Everything's going well.
Yeah.
Flowers, I was present. And then
Sounds
I
romantic.
went to the gym after. Yeah, my gym was like 24 hours and I had to get a little workout in, clear my head. Halfway through the workout, I'm digging through my phone,
It's on you.
looking for a dealer's number that I've deleted 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Before I knew it, I had a ticket in my hand and I'd used it.
Wow.
And I was like, how the fuck did that just happen?
Mate, powerful
And
shit.
yeah, I went out there for 2 years. My clean date's the 6th of November, 2020. So I went from
So
the 5th of
two
November.
years from that
Two-
Valentine's night. Eh?
Yeah, 2 years exactly from the day I got clean. So minus the 3 months I was clean, 2 years was my relapse. Yeah,
Man.
to the day. And then I went treatment on the 5th of November. I found a little bit of gear in my wash bag when I got to treatment and I'd done it. So technically my clean date's the day after.
You've got to be technical, man. But you know
I
what?
would have loved it if it was still the 5th and it was exactly
No,
that.
I
It's
know.
not, it's
It's
the
not.
6th.
It's the six. And I'm thinking something that you said a minute ago is that if you would have come in 2 weeks earlier, you would have bounced
Yeah,
in the door, maybe. But there's something really important here, and that is that it sounded like you weren't being enabled.
No, for the first time that front door was
Right.
slammed
So,
shut and locked.
so this is the importance that I'm trying to voice here. I think if you're enabling somebody who's an addict, you ain't fucking helping them.
No, for years and years and years.
Enabling them to continue to use, they will keep using.
Yeah, mate.
That's my experience. This is what changed it for me this time. So you say after that 2-year relapse, I would get kicked out of my house where I live with my missus and our kids, well, one kid at the time. And I'd go around my mum and dad's and they let me in.
Yeah,
And they always let me in.
always.
And I've said this before. The day I walked up there, they opened the door and I was like, you ain't fucking coming in here.
Did they say that?
From that day, I stayed clean.
Good. From that day.
I went to treatment 3 or 4 days later. And I
Okay.
stayed clean.
Yeah, that day. Yeah, that day. Yeah, that's the same.
That was the no more wiggle room, no more enabling in,
Nowhere to go.
nowhere to go.
And look, you're on
I
your
started
arse.
taking it serious.
No doors were left open.
Then, like you said, when I come into treatment, trust me, I weren't walking in there bouncing in like I was in that meeting.
No.
I was like, oh my God, I've got to get this right. Otherwise, I'm a homeless person. You know what I mean? Simple as that.
And talking before the podcast started, we're all on the same page that addiction centres in the mind. It's a thinking illness, yeah? We all
100%.
Yeah, in the literature, it says, look, it's a mental health illness. One of the symptoms of addiction is that we use drink and drugs. Like, that's one of the symptoms of this illness, that life becomes so overwhelming. This is my story. Life becomes so overwhelming for me when I was out there, so intimidating, so scary on certain days that over a certain period of time, the only solution for me was to go and pick up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I work with sponsees at the moment, and they're talking to me about their life and how some of them are living a lie and they can't be honest with people. And then they realise, I'm not surprised you relapse.
No.
If you haven't got a program to work, and this is where I got to, if I didn't have this program to work, so these feelings, emotions were just building up, and I had nowhere to express them, Stu. And it got to the point where I was never a daily user. I was a binge user. So I might store it up for a week or 2 weeks, or I could go a month maybe without using.
Yeah.
But then I'll disappear for 2-3 days. That was my story.
Gone.
Over and over again with 2 kids and a wife at home.
Yeah,
that
man.
was it. And it was because I've learned about addiction and what the actual illness is. I understand it now. And the difference today is I'm still that person who life intimidates him. But today I've got these tools that I've been shown in recovery where I can ring my sponsor.
Yeah.
I can talk to you. I can
Yeah.
talk to Chris, share my stuff. I just had a really difficult meeting at work, or
Yeah.
I've had a row with my missus, or the kids are driving me mad.
Or you don't even know what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I can talk it through, and gratitude's a big part of our journey, and we do gratitude lists every day, and
Yeah.
I pray to a higher power that I've become accustomed to.
Yeah.
But all these things is my little toolkit that I use
man.
to live life.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's
beautiful, isn't it?
yeah, no, it is. And
It's
it's,
beautiful.
without that, if I take away that toolkit, give it 2, 3, 4 months, that drink starts to look appealing to me.
Yeah, and it's like what I was saying to you literally before the podcast started. You know, when I tell people I'm 19 years in recovery, people look at that and it's a bit of a wow moment. And don't get me wrong, I'm fucking proud of that.
No,
19 days is massive. Yeah.
Yes, no joke.
It ain't no, exactly. And do you know what? There's certain periods of it that were difficult, but it's like I've said to both of you, and I'll tell anybody, I'm open and honest about this because you have to be in recovery. That journey was painful when I weren't working that program that you just said, right? I can't even tell you because I didn't have the option to pick up cocaine or alcohol at the time because I wasn't doing that, right? I wasn't doing it. So I had to then live with that edge that you couldn't fucking cope with.
Yeah.
Right? That's painful, man.
Start raving sober.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, bad. And then you're in a relationship that you don't want to be in, that you shouldn't be in.
Yeah.
Then you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing every day.
People pleasing.
Acting out in other ways.
Acting out in other ways. Then you're wondering why you feel ill, you feel anxious, you can't sleep.
Shame and guilt.
You're not talking to the people you should
start to isolate.
And that's where disease wants you.
Always.
On your own, isolated. Where you start listening to them ideas and you start thinking, maybe that is a good idea.
Exactly. So people who watch this or listen to this podcast, and I've had messages who are not in recovery, who are not an addict, they didn't understand what addiction is.
No.
Right?
No,
people say, put the fucking drink down, put the gear down away.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time.
Mate, like, it ain't like that. No. It ain't, you know, like, I go back to when I was a kid. That man that you mentioned who couldn't live without using and didn't have that toolkit, that's who I was as a boy.
Yeah.
Was you like
that?
No, I agreed,
Do you know what I mean? I was born like that. I believe I was born like that. And it sets you up for addiction, doesn't it?
Of course it does. Well, look, first manifestation for me was food.
Right.
Over it. Hated what it was doing to me. I was a little fat kid.
Right.
Couldn't stop eating. Right? That's addiction.
Yeah.
I hated the consequences. It made me feel better temporarily. So I did it, no matter the consequences, and kept going. Then it would be something else, just like obsession after obsession after obsession, until I found that combination, which was like a few pints and a few lines and a couple of joints. And I was like, I can fucking come out and play.
Yeah.
This is what I've been missing. Right? And it done for me everything I ever wanted. And then eventually, after a while, all the things it gave me, it just stripped it all away. But then I was left with, I had to use, I'll do the analogy, about the Jelinek curve. Right? So it's almost like I was using just to get to zero.
Yeah, mate.
And then I'll be there, and I was either at zero or lower. I never went up anymore.
No, I feel that then. When you say that out loud, I feel that. Do you know what I mean? That takes me instantly back to that feeling of fucking despair, man.
Yeah. I was getting, the best I ever felt was normal.
Yeah.
Like just
And that
baseline.
wasn't even a right normal either.
It weren't normal.
No.
It was just, like a better way to say it is like baseline.
Yeah,
you know what
I
I
get
mean?
that,
I get to square one was
Yeah.
my absolute peak. And the rest of it was just really dark and low.
And you felt the same?
Yeah, definitely. We talked the other day, didn't I? I used to go into, this was when I was in my late teens, 20s, I suppose, that even to when I used to walk into a boozer or a bar or whatever, I'll be down in drinks real quick just to get to that
level. Yeah.
zero. Because otherwise, it'll be on me. I'll be looking over the shoulder. Is there a fight kicking off, like hyper vigilant? And it was just, we talk about it all the time. The disease of addiction, disease, you break it down. Like I was just uncomfortable in my own skin. But I can still, 5 years clean, I can be like that today.
Yeah, mate.
I can wake up tomorrow, I'll wake up and I'm, oh shit, like I just feel like alien. But again, I'm going to go back to it. I've got these tools now.
You have to dig deep sometimes.
Exactly.
And you know what? You've made me think of something because this morning I felt a little bit like that. I'll share it. And yesterday a little bit. And that's because there's a personal issue, right, that involves a little bit of confrontation with somebody I don't really want to have that confrontation with, right? It's kept me awake because I've got ADHD. My fucking brain last night was like hyper-focusing on this subject all night long.
Yeah.
So I wake up, lack of sleep, a little bit of morning anxiety, got a podcast with two gentlemen who I've never even met before, right? Or even spoke to before, right?
No.
I don't know where I'm going to set the cameras up and all this mad shit. So I've come in here and I'm a bit like, what, fucking hell, like, do you know what I mean? It was on me a little bit.
Yeah.
But I've had to dig deep and was talking about breathwork earlier and I've been doing that all morning and it's
nice.
held. But back in the day, that is when I would use.
Yeah.
You know,
That's-
get rid of that fucking feeling.
That sort of situation you just said, that confrontation, that consumes me even today.
Right,
It does. or any big stuff, the big feelings really, any big feelings that come up just consume me. You ask my wife or my brothers and sisters and my friends and Chris, but my go-to now is to bounce it off 5 people. I cannot deal with those situations alone anymore. I can't, because normally I'll handle it wrong, or anger will come out, or passive aggressive, or whatever it would be, and I'll bounce it off, say, Chris, I was going to deal with it in this way, and he'll be like, you were going to do what? It was normally, I
do that, mate.
Don't do that, mate.
My first go-to,
it's wrong.
Nah, it's wrong. But I'm totally with you. I wouldn't sleep the night before, and I'm like it with big meetings at work. It will just consume me, because I know I've just done over. We were talking in the car on the way out. I was really struggling to sleep myself at the moment, and it's just that busy washing machine head.
Yeah, mate.
I don't do myself good because I'm on my phone until 10, 11 o'clock at night.
And this is the thing, like, we talk about that toolkit that we got, right? We know that ain't good, right? You know, being on your blower at night ain't good.
Just self-knowledge of how that's nothing, right?
That's right. Yeah. That's exactly it. Yeah. But it's when you've had enough. It's the same thing, isn't it? When you've had enough punishment, you go, all right, fucking hell. I'll put my hands are up.
Exactly right. When you've had enough punishment, we've had it, because we're self-centered to the core as addicts.
Yeah.
When it's painful enough for us, then we'll think about change.
Then we'll think about it,
yeah. It's been painful for everyone else.
Yeah, mate, there's suffering around us all the time.
But as soon as it's bad enough for us, then we'll start putting in some action.
Yeah, definitely.
Like that self-knowledge stuff, it's great to have that awareness. But unless you action it, or apply the spiritual principle that will counteract that negative behaviour.
Yeah.
Nothing changes, right?
This is it.
It's like, knowing it is okay. That's the first part of it. But you've got to do something about it.
Yeah.
So it's like me with the food. When I come into recovery, I was 11 stone. Okay. I'm like 15 and a half stone now.
Right.
I was a bag of bones.
So skinny, weren't you?
So skinny. Just, I was eating 1 meal a day if I was lucky, because I was just constantly using cocaine. I couldn't eat.
But still thinking
you ain't great. You know, I thought I looked great inside out. You know what I mean? I know I weren't big, but I'm like, oh my God, look at Lena. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then that goes into that body dysmorphia of me being a fat kid.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, oh, look how fucking lean I am now. Fucking off-key thinking.
Dangerous, isn't it?
So I come in recovery and I'm not using cocaine anymore. And I'm eating and I fucking put too much weight on.
Too much.
And then I'm like...
Was it too much?
Well, too much.
Right.
In my head, it's far too much.
Okay.
Because I'm a perfectionist.
How much was it?
I could grab a bit like...
come off. You're sitting there looking at me and you're like, look at Darby he's got over there.
So anyway, right, I'm like, right, this is becoming a problem.
I'm holding the end
me. But it doesn't really matter how much it is. It's affecting me, right? So I'm like, right, get on it. Then I'm in the gym every fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
Every day.
Every day.
And I'm counting every single calorie I eat, right? So that's the opposite of when I'm just eating whatever I want. Now I'm like, that was too much. Let's find some balance.
Just obsessing like fuck.
Let's find some balance. So now I've got a scheduling plan. My dieting is controlled, but it's not obsessive.
Right.
My training is controlled, but it's not obsessive. And I found a happy medium that fits into my family life, my recovery life, my work life. And it's just like anything in my life can become that obsession and that hyper-focused thing.
Yeah.
And it's dangerous for me.
We talk about structure, don't we, all the time?
Structure.
Struggle with it myself.
Every area of my life, I need structure. I'm the same.
Do you need something to put it in for you?
No. For me, it really takes, like you said,
help.
I have to get in so much pain, like around my food. I was historically, like before Christmas, eating late at night, just constantly eating all the kids' sweets and crisps out of packed lunches, missing the come down.
Nothing's there.
What's going on? I've eaten all the frazzles again. So I'm doing intermittent fasting at the moment. Okay. It's structure, so I don't eat between. It's like a child, really. I don't eat between these times, and you eat at this time.
Yeah.
But I need that.
Can you stick to it?
I can stick to it. I'm sticking to it. I've stopped smoking for 3 weeks. I put structure in around that. I've started to do a bit of running. I've put some structure around that. But if I don't, it becomes very unmanageable very quickly. Yeah. Very quickly. And it's like with buying shit online. Like, do I need it or do I just want it because it's fixing me? I know I have to.
Getting a parcel through the door.
It is.
I don't even know what they are when they turn up.
What's this
one for?
Every day. Amazon. Every day.
But like picking up gear, the buzz is with the chase. The ordering is the buzz.
Yeah.
Like when it comes, fucking trainers. Do you know what I mean? It's like, sorry, I don't think it's swear.
No, I swear, I've sworn loads. Yeah.
I've never said that about a pair of trainers.
I'm colourblind, right? I bought a pair of the other. I get my greys and my pinks mixed up, which is strange, but for a colourblind person, you understand. And the man, I bought a pair of trainers the other day. They came through. I'm like, these look lovely. My missus said to me, they're pink. It was like, oh. But again, another bit of unmanageability. I struggle with sending stuff back to shops.
Me too.
I don't know if you struggle.
I've never done it.
I've never done it. either.
Never done it.
Have you not?
No,
My
mate.
missus is on the
Never
ball.
done it. Never done it.
Ball with that. She sends stuff back every day.
I'm better now. But yeah,
Never done it.
But this is it. Like, that's that discipline, right? And that's part of my life that ain't there. I find that so. I say it ain't there. That's bollocks. It is there, but it ain't there to a high level.
Yeah.
And I can come into it sometimes, but I looked at this the other day in business, right? I've only ever been successful in business when I've had a right-hand person.
Yeah.
That's facts.
Yeah.
If I haven't got that right-hand person, I'm swimming in circles.
Yeah, well, you're accountable to someone.
Yeah, I can't. So, like,
Yeah.
if I get a right-hand person, I feel like I can take on the world.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
No, totally.
If they're not there,
yeah,
I'm a bit like, I can't bother today.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
I need to
I know
delegate.
exactly
Do
what you
you
mean.
know what I mean?
Yeah. I've got better at that since I've been clean and I'm back. So I'm back doing the same thing I used to do before. I do bathrooms.
Okay.
So it was like, I would do the absolute bare minimum just to keep people off my back. Like,
Yeah.
I would show up at 9 because I could get away with 9. And I would leave at 3 because you get away with leaving at 3. 10 and 2 is no good.
No.
So I'll be like, right, just doing the absolute bare minimum to get by. Now I've got a little bit of structure and it's like, I'm motivated. I provide for my family now.
Yeah.
So that's like the kick up the arse that I need.
Yeah.
But I know exactly what you're saying about going in business. So like me and Max have partnered up in this thing.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
accountable to each other. You know what I mean? And it gives us both the push we need.
Yeah, mate.
So I completely see what you're saying.
It's hard, but
I've been in business previously with people that I've actually had a resentment against because I don't think they're doing enough. And I won't do things out of spite because I think they're not doing it,
Mhm.
which is just a toxic environment.
Yeah.
So,
And then you lead into resentment thinking all the time.
of course you do.
yeah. Overthink.
So that's one thing I said when I come into recovery. I am not partnering up with anyone unless I know that we're on the same page and we're moving towards the same common
man.
goal. And that's why it's working so well with me and Max.
Hello guys, hope you're enjoying this week's episode. Just a quick break here. I want to ask you a big favour. If you are enjoying the show, enjoying the episode, enjoying the podcast, can you please subscribe, please like, please share. I just want to let you know how important that is. The bigger this channel gets, the more people that see it, means that we can affect people's sobriety in a positive way, their addiction recovery. We might change a life, we might save a life. Enjoy the rest of the episode. Thank you.
Let's talk about this then. So the Addicted to Recovery podcast.
Yeah.
Tell me, why did it start?
Basically,
And we'll
I'm-
pump it, and I will pump it because it's
I'm
important.
on another podcast. It's called That Josh James Show. It's with a mate of mine. He's a stand-up comedian. He had me on as a guest just because he thought I had an interesting story to tell. And
Is he in recovery, by the way?
He is, yeah. He's
Okay,
got a year
so-
clean
Okay.
in CA. He's good stuff. Anyway, funny comedian. Funny enough, his career started taking off since he's come and started doing this
That's
stuff. A
fucking
bit of management
surprising,
in his
isn't
life.
it? Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
So basically, he invited me on as a guest, and he was like, "Oh mate, I think we really bounce off each other well. Why don't you come on full time?
Oh.
I'm looking for a co-host."
Just like that, bang.
Just like that. So, I mean, I've known the guy for years, but in a professional capacity, we've never done anything together.
Cool.
I've been a co-host on his podcast ever since, got the bug for it, love doing it. And me and Max have been in talks for a little while about what we wanted to do something together.
Yeah.
And it was, are we going to start a dry house? Are we going to do this? What are we going to do? We wanted to go in business together.
Yeah,
to do
yeah,
something.
yeah.
Wanted to do something. And basically, our biggest thing was, and the reason we've started this podcast, our whole message is a lot of the stuff we've already talked about. A lot of people out there don't know what this stuff is.
They don't, mate.
No.
No, they don't.
They don't. So we're just trying to raise awareness and change society's view
Yes.
about who an addict is,
Yep.
what an addict does, how an addict thinks, and how can you help an addict.
How can you help an addict as well?
How can an addict help themselves, and
Yeah.
how can the loved ones, family, friends of an addict help that person steer them in the right?
And on that topic, I had something amazing happen to me the other day. You know about it, Chris, but I had this chat. There's a few treatment centres around Southend Way, and we get, if you got a bit of clean time, you get asked to go in and share at these treatment centres, which is cool.
For H&I,
Right.
hospitals and institutions.
Chrissy's done some
Okay.
service there for a year, but it was, so I went down there and did a share, and at those sort of events, like it's amazing because they're so engaged because
Yeah.
they're at that rock bottom.
Yeah, mate.
They've got that gift, and at the end of the share, you do like a bit of a Q&A, and I started chatting to a few guys, and then a few of the people in that treatment centre started to go to meetings, so I started to see a few of them, which was fantastic. I love seeing that. But I got a random phone call the other day. And there was a chap on the end of the line who I met in the treatment centre. And he was like, Max, I just wanted to ring you, and I'm going to ring Chris in a bit. He said, because I've not spoken to my old man for 2 years. And he said, he's just listened to your podcast. And he said, for the first time, he understands me and addiction. And he said to me, he's going to meet up with me in 2 weeks' time.
Well, I feel emotional, man.
No, it was.
There you go.
Yeah, do you know what I
We
mean?
couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
When he told me, I had tears running down
Well,
my
I feel
face.
like I've got them there coming in my eyes. You know what I mean? That's priceless.
And it's going back to what Chrissy said, like, people out there do not understand about addiction. They think that, he's just a bit of a party boy. He loves Charlie too much, whatever the substance is. But it's the story behind it. It's the why. Why is he using that? He's in so much pain that he feels that his only option is to change the way he feels by using drink and drugs. And it does, that little moment there. Do you know what I mean? If I never get another phone call like that again, this podcast has been worthwhile. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's exactly what we were saying. It's like, oh man, we've already accomplished that.
Yeah, man. Like, do you know what? Something I had a podcast go out. It was with my sponsor. My sponsor come in and recorded a podcast, I don't know, 6 weeks ago, whatever it was. And some guy messaged, put a message on YouTube and said that I'm going into rehab on Monday. Or Sunday, whatever it was. He said, and I've just watched this podcast. He said, and it's changed the whole fucking perspective of my thinking before I go in there. Thank you so much.
There you go.
And I was like, mate, like that feeling, that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough.
We said at the outside, if we can leave a little legacy when we're good and gone, right, that someone in 100 years' time can go on to Spotify, might not even be around then, and listen and learn about addiction, like what a beautiful thing that could be, that we could change that person's life. And that's why we're wanting to do it.
And that's why you do it.
It means so much to us.
We're not trying to replace 12-step fellowship-based recovery. That's not what we're trying to do. We're currently going through the steps on our podcast. We've done step 1. We're recording step 2.
I saw that. Yeah.
And we said in that, we're not trying to take the place of your sponsor. We're just sort of like giving a summary about this is what it's all about. This is the way we do it. So our first episode was just introducing ourselves. Then it was like reaching out for help. The one after that was sponsorship. The one after that, step 1. So we're just sort of like going through the program.
Yeah.
One step at a time to just sort of give people a basic idea. Plus for me, I knew when I went to work, big part of my recovery is listening to like old speaker tapes of like the old school guys like Sandy Beach and Earl Hightower, Bob D, like all these old AA circuit speakers.
Joe and Charlie, I used to listen
Joe
to.
and Charlie, I've done all their tapes.
Mate,
right?
loved it. That got me sober.
Yeah.
Joe and Charlie, I don't think there's two people that understand recovery better than
Mate, unreal.
they've gone through that book with a fine-tooth comb,
Yeah, man.
and they've gone to work on it. Right?
Powerful shit.
So basically, that was a massive part of my day. I work on my own. I have my earphones in, and I can plug in to recovery while I'm on my own.
Yes.
And it's almost like I've been clean for 3 years. I have exhausted all of them old speaker tapes.
Okay.
I've listened to them all
Done them all.
multiple times.
Right.
And that was just in 3 years. And I want to be clean for the rest of my life.
So you need one more?
So I need more.
Yeah,
right? So if that's me, I know that other people are out there and they need more as well. So if we can add an extra hour a week, I feel like we're doing a bit of service.
Like 100%. I think like commendable, like proper commendable. Because for me, I started this community project that we're doing here, and then we didn't get many people through the door for addiction. And then one of the ladies who works with me, she's a counsellor, she said, why don't you do a couple of, go on social media? I went on Instagram, I went on Facebook, and I said, I ain't doing social media. I don't like it. I think it has a negative effect to people's mental health. I ain't doing it, right? And then she said to me, yeah, but if you did a couple of videos, you've got passion, you might get people through the door. And I went, oh, fuck it. Let's look at social media for a different reason, right?
Yeah.
So I started for a positive, yeah. So I'd been off it 3, 4 years, 5 years, whatever it was. So I then went on Facebook. I started doing a couple of videos. We've got a couple of people through the door. Someone mentioned the word podcast. This is in September, October. I'm fucking recording a podcast.
Yeah.
Like, that's my life. Like, that's how it works.
Yeah,
I'm like, where's that come from?
You sure you're an addict?
Yeah, mate, you know what I mean? What is happening now?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I'm
all the
in.
gear,
Mate,
yeah.
I've got the gear now. I'm in it. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like fucking madness.
You'll be doing short films next year.
Mate, I've already thinking about documentaries in Gravesend Town Centre, talking to addicts and all this shit. And
Yeah,
that's how
there
it
you go.
goes. But then,
I relate.
and do you know, but as joking aside, that documentary thing about talking to addicts, I think it's fucking important. It's going in my head every night. I think if I get the microphone, I get the camera, and I go out and I can talk to people, give an understanding of people. Like when the general public look at a homeless person, they've got a misconception, right? It didn't start there. She didn't start there.
No.
They had a life before that.
Yeah, of course.
And 9 times out of 10, it's either it's mental health or addiction, but I'd say 9 times out of 10, there's an addiction substance issue
The two
there.
go hand in hand.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
trauma there.
And it's like, that's about raising awareness as well. Like this podcast, like your podcast. And I'm thinking, no, if I get it, jokes aside, I am going to do it because I think it's important.
Yeah.
Plus, like, misconceptions
Yes.
about, like you said, about a homeless person. You picture a homeless person, you think, oh, right, someone sleeping in the doorway, big beard, this, that, and the other. Like, maybe like a middle-aged man is what you'd expect.
Yeah, yeah.
There's homeless people of all ages,
Mate.
all creeds, all colours, all religions. Same with an addict.
Yeah.
It's not a heroin addict jacking up in a staircase around a block of flats. It could be the little old lady, like it says in our book, just going to 2 or 3 pharmacists to get a couple extra codeine pills.
100%.
It's the same disease.
Same disease.
Same disease.
And
mate.
it's the same thinking pattern.
Yeah.
Well, I
It's
did,
just taking her to different places.
I didn't get that when I first
Me
came in.
neither.
Chrissy. Like,
Me neither.
I used to sit next to people in NA, because in NA there's all sorts of different drug use and
Would you have a class issue?
No, and it was, I remember sitting next to a heroin addict or whatever and thinking initially, I ain't like it.
I ain't like him.
I ain't like him. I never said.
Yeah.
But as soon as he opened his mouth, Stu, and started sharing about how he felt when he grew up, how he feels now, his daily struggles with life, it was like the same person sitting next to me.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, fuck, there's more to this than the substance. And that's the misconception out there.
Yes.
I think people out there, if you're smoking a smack,
Oh, it's only a bit of puff.
Yeah. That's all right.
Same disease.
Same disease. It is the same disease. And do you know what? Even some, it sounds mad because we understand this, but there's a lot of addicts that don't get that, yeah?
yeah.
They don't get it. They don't get it, mate.
Let alone the normal person.
Oh,
that's
this
not
is
an addict.
right. So you've got the addict who's got who's got an illness that tells me he ain't fucking got it. That knocks me bandy because I don't know any other illness that you would look at if you've got it and say, I fucking ain't. Like, what is that? I'm having this conversation.
my head.
Mate, it does me. I've been putting it on the table to this person because it needs to be happening. And I've said it so many times about their usage, right? And they don't see it, apparently. They see it. Of course they see it. But then that denial is there, isn't it? Because you don't want to let go of what you're doing because you're scared. True? Of course. Scared, isn't it? Because you don't know how to live with that.
Fear of the unknown.
Fucking fear, man.
And Chrissy, what do you say? It's one of the only diseases where if you go into hospital, because I was talking about when I've been hospitalised a few times, and the nurses were great, but I was saying, my argument was quite rightly, they weren't giving me the care of attention that they would
100%.
for someone coming in. But then you said,
I said, it's a fatal, incurable disease. He's gone to hospital because the symptoms of that disease have kicked in, and he's getting shunned by the medical profession. And it's the only disease where that happens as well.
100%.
and that
Think
just says
about
to
it,
me
100%.
that the hospitals and people in those institutions don't understand about the illness as well.
Mate, they don't understand about it. And like we can go on a proper rant here with this one because they don't understand about it because we've spoken before again on this podcast and that terminology, drugs and alcohol, and I say it a lot, people are probably bored listening. Alcohol's a drug.
Alcohol's a drug.
Alcohol's a drug. But it's a sold drug, it's a publicised drug, it's an advertised drug,
It's a legal drug.
it's a legal drug, and it's encouraged.
It's the only drug you have to tell people why you're not taking it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mate.
What, you're not drinking?
Right, so if that's the mentality of society, this is why people don't understand what addiction is, do they?
Yeah,
Of course they don't.
They don't, man. They don't. And then nurses and doctors, when you go in there, they think, why don't you fucking, you're wasting our time. You're wasting our time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they'll throw a load of cocodamol at you on the way out the door.
Yeah, that's right.
Or a load of tramadol.
It's true,
Or
man.
some diazepam.
Yeah,
And I'm
there's-
like, oh, that's nice.
let's
I like
put it out there though. Big up the NHS. Come on, look.
Yeah.
I'm not trying, I'm just saying, when it comes to addiction, there's just across the board.
It's just a lack of knowledge.
I'm not saying it's everyone, because people do understand it.
Mhm.
The vast majority of the general public, the medical profession, even down to psychiatrists and counsellors and stuff like that, are uninformed
Yes.
about what this stuff is.
Mhm.
And if we can educate a small percentage of that people, we've played some small part.
Yes.
And that's all we're trying to do.
And this is why podcasts like yours and mine are so beneficial and needed in society because, I look at services that are local to me and in local areas that are for addiction-based services, and predominantly their staff are not from an addiction background. Yeah? I do have an issue with that, right? I commend the people who want to work in them services because they want to help. I get that, right? But unless you know how my mind works, you can't. No, I can't help you. I don't think I can help you.
No.
Like Because it's fucked up inside there, isn't it? Do you know what I
We
mean?
call it the therapeutic value of one addict helping another.
Mate, priceless.
It's without parallel.
It's
So it says in
priceless.
our literature. Unless we've got that same lived experience, common problem, common solution,
Mm-hmm.
and you've been to the places that I've been to, I find it very difficult to take what you say as like gospel.
Yeah.
Whereas when I went into treatment, everyone who works in there, apart from one person, but then this is the other kicker. So everyone in there was a recovering addict.
Everyone.
The one person that wasn't, her mum was an alcoholic.
Okay.
So she could see it from the child's perception. She had an even better understanding because she saw it for what it really was,
Yes.
without the ego telling her that she ain't got it.
So all counsellors, all staff were recovered.
All recovering addicts.
Priceless.
Yeah.
And I'll guarantee you, I don't know where this was, but I'll guarantee you their success rate, when I say success, people staying clean and
Yeah.
sober,
Well,
it's got to be high.
The ones that come out and got a sponsor and done the steps, it's a great success rate. The ones that thought they were fixed after they left treatment, half of them are back in or still out there using one. This is what I try and say to people. I've done 28 days in treatment. I wasn't fixed after 28 days. I was clean.
Yeah.
I had 28 days clean.
Yep.
But I got out. I got a sponsor. I started working the steps. I moved into a dry house for 8 months.
Did you?
I had to leave my 18-month-old son and my missus at home while I concentrated on my recovery.
Would they have you back or not at that
No,
time?
no, they wanted me to come back.
But you said, no,
I couldn't
okay.
because I wasn't ready. And I knew that it was my last chance.
Well, man, that's powerful.
She wanted me back after 6 months. She was like, come on, it's time now. And I'm like, I am not ready to come home. I went, I need to make my amends first. So I stayed until I'd done my step 9. I'd made the majority of the really important amends that I had to make. Then I was like, okay, I'm coming back.
Yeah, that's powerful.
And look, someone said to me in the beginning, and I say this all the time, anything you put before your recovery, you're going to lose it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So put your recovery first. Everything else will take care of itself.
Yeah, yeah.
And I took that advice and I grabbed onto it with both hands and I focused on my recovery. And before I knew it, I was back home. I had a brand new car in the driveway. I had a successful business. I was paying my bills on time. All I did was concentrate on my recovery.
Yeah, it worked.
And everything else just fell into place.
Yeah.
So look, I took that on faith, yeah, because I had no belief system around that because I'd never done it before.
Yep.
Now I believe that will happen. So when I'm telling people, if you do this,
It's your experience,
this
isn't
will happen.
it? Yeah.
I know that for a fact. There's that analogy about the mechanic, about faith and trust or faith and belief. And it's like, say you move to the area and something goes wrong with your car. And I'm like, there's a mechanic down the road. He'll do you a good job for a fair price. Go see him. You take that on faith.
Yeah.
You go there, he fixes the car, he does a good job for a fair price. Next time, when your car's broke, you don't ask me.
I'll go there.
You go straight there because you believe that that guy will do it. And that's the same thing with this stuff. I now believe it works because the guy fixed my car. You know what I mean?
I do.
We were talking on the
Yeah.
way out, weren't we?
Yeah.
We were saying about 1, 2, 3, because I'm doing some step work, some sponsees at the moment, and we're going over old ground, and it's great for me. I say to them, me helping you is helping me at the same time, which is fantastic. But we've been going over 1, 2, 3, and it's like, as we spoke on the way out, if you have a solid 1, 2, 3, like I have got ultimate faith that this, regardless of what happens in my life, if I have family members that passed away or whatever it is, big moments, I have utmost faith that this program will keep me clean.
Yeah.
And to have that walking down the road is just, I can't even put it into words. It's just priceless. The thought process of me going to pick up a drink and a drug, I don't need to do that. I've got such a strong program that drink and drugs are so far away from
That's not a fault for you at all.
no,
is it?
it's not. It's
no.
honestly, Stu, it's
Anything
so far away from me. I might go and spend too much online.
Yeah,
I might go to the fridge at 10 o'clock at night and eat all the frazzles,
That's
whatever.
all right, man.
But that's manageable stuff. That's stuff that I can deal with. But the drink and the drugs is just it's a million miles away from me. But only for one thing, because I'm connected to the program. I still do 2-3 meetings a week. And I work my program solidly. And if I stop doing that, then I don't want to know what happens. But
So let's go back to your beginning of your recovery. You saying that you'd lost the missus and lost your kids.
yeah,
But you've said your wife a couple of times. So you're back with your wife.
back with my wife. Yeah,
Well, that's powerful in
just
itself.
celebrating
isn't it?
10 years anniversary. Yeah.
Congratulations,
Cheers.
man.
Yeah,
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 congratulations. So how did you get back with it in?
So it was a journey. We did a year's worth of marriage counselling,
Wicked.
which I was not. I was completely closed-minded to. Surprise, surprise. And
Yeah, fair play.
I bounced off a few people, my sponsor, and I just, at the end of the day, I was in that mode. I was in that mode of listening to other people for the first time in a long time, and it was a tough experience, but it was needed. And
did you hear? Sorry, can I ask? Did you hear a lot of truths that you didn't want to hear?
Yeah,
Something there painful.
Yeah, too right.
So
Yeah.
you know, like we go through the program, we can make our amends and we can put our hands up, right? That's one thing. But when you're sitting there with someone who's telling you how you've made them feel,
Oh yeah,
mate, that's a fucking crippler, isn't it?
yeah. And a few people,
Isn't it?
by going to the rooms, like, I did 90 meetings in 90 days, which was suggested to me. I was hearing my story multiple times, and also I was hearing in there how he's got his wife back and how he treats his wife and how he acts as a father, how he acts as a boss, how he acts as a son. And I was just changing. It talks about change, and it massively in the program. Like, yeah, we put down the drink and drugs, but the issue with us. So how do we keep on this? How do we maintain this program? We need to change us. I had to change everything about myself, Stu. That's the honest answer. Yeah. I was just selfish to the core. It was crippling, and it was a long journey. But I think she saw a change in me, and
before you did, probably.
Yeah, and thank God she stuck with me, because I've got 2 young kids, beautiful kids, and our life now is fantastic. Do you know what I mean?
You see that? Listen, like, there'll be people listening to this thinking, well, how fucking that's already been and gone. Do you know what I mean? I've lost mine already. Like, and then you get to the point of, right, what's the point? But, you know, how much more do you need to lose? Do you know? Like, when I went into the fellowship, you said earlier you was 11 stone. I think I was 8 stone 4, right? When I was a slim guy, probably only 11 stone when I was well, right? I was 8 stone 4. I've gone in there, mate, it's light, right? I had a gun in my mouth for 3 months, crying, like living above this pub in this filthy room. I hadn't washed for 9 months, and wanting to die, yeah. And when I got in there, wow, I sat around listening to people like you saying about getting their wives. I hadn't had a bourbon for I don't know how long. Like, I hadn't seen my son, my eldest son, for 2.5 years, I think it was. I was sitting there like this, like fucking unwell, thinking, if I don't do this, I'm dead.
How did you get to that first meeting?
Oh man, like, I called my brother in blackout who had been in AA a few times. I didn't know this, and I remember screaming in the pub, like, and then I fell asleep outside my door upstairs, which I've done a lot. And when I got in my room, it's filth. Like, but that, I was laying outside the fucking door and my phone was ringing. And then I answered it, and it was my brother Martin. He's like, "I'll be with you in 10 minutes. I'm on the bus." I'm like, whoa, what do you mean? He went, "You run coming." Yeah. I was like, "What the fuck?" He went, "You run me last night." He said, "You want to go to a meeting?" I don't even know what time this was. Maybe it must have been the following 24 hours.
That's that higher power stuff.
You made the call in blackout.
Make it call in blackout.
Yeah, that's that higher power stuff.
Mate, and next, I'm turning the fuck off. I ain't going to no meeting. I've never been to a meeting, right? I've known he popped in and out of meetings, but that ain't for me.
I'm all right.
Thanks, mate. I'm like that. I think, right? Thanks.
Have you seen me recently?
Oh, mate. And next thing I know, I'm on this bus, man. I'm going to a meeting in Dagenham, in Essex. I got there. It was an anniversary meeting. 4 guest speakers were on, packed. They fill up this cup of tea for me. I spilt it all over me in November. Fuming I was. Right? I'm like this in the back. I've never, ever touched a line of gear or had a drink since that meeting.
No, wow, first meeting.
Swear to fucking God.
It's outrageous.
Mate, what happened? I don't know. You talk about higher power stuff. I was days from death. I genuinely believe that wholeheartedly, that if, you know, I say this a lot, that I was praying to God to give me the strength to pull the trigger, but He gave me the strength to ask for help. And I didn't know I did it.
Yeah.
That's
Plus,
hard. Isn't
your ego knows that if you pull the trigger, you're going to kill your ego as well.
Mate, yeah.
So it's like, nah, don't do that.
Oh, I didn't want to do it.
Don't do that.
I didn't want to do it.
Yeah. That's why it's very difficult for truly self-centered people like us, which all addicts are, to kill themselves successfully. Yeah. Because if you kill... My addict's sitting over there like, no, don't do that because then I'll die.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you know what, right? I don't know what you felt in your first meeting and that meeting that you went to that you went back out for a couple of years. But when I went in there that day, there was something in my head. Granted, I got hope, right? I felt hope. I heard hope or whatever it was. But there was something in me that it was a bit like, well, you just made this promise to yourself. You ain't doing that no more. It was a bit like that. And I've come out of there and everyone around me, my brother, and he knew these geezers and all that, like, they're all talking to me. It felt like I was in this little family instantly, right? I didn't like it.
Found your tribe.
Yeah, I didn't fucking like it, but it was there. Yeah. And then I thought, I can't let these down. They felt like they was all putting their faith in me.
Yeah, and that's what happens.
That's what happened.
Do you want to say about your tea and coffee commitment? That's a good
yeah. So look, basically, I first commitment I ever took was tea and coffee, right? So I come out of treatment. I've done literature secretary in Southend when I come out, because I was for 9 months while I was in the dry house. And when I moved home, it was like an hour to get to Southend, hour to get back. And I had to give that commitment up. I'd done it for a couple of months and then took one a bit closer. So big meeting, that one I was telling you about earlier, between 40 and 60 people every week. And it's like a tea hatch, proper commercial kitchen, like big tea urn, percolator,
All the gear.
all the bit. I'm like,
He was all over.
I'm on it. If I'm doing something, I'm gonna fucking do it. Right? So I'm buying like Italian coffee beans, grinding them. Yeah, I was on point with the coffee. And someone would come in through the door, and basically they'd greet us at the meeting. So if someone was new, they'd like walk them through, and they'd come up and they'd be like, "Are you new, mate? What's your name?" And they'd be like, "My name's John." And I'm like, "All right, John, let me get you a cup of tea. What you after?" Tea, 1 sugar, no problem. Next week, John comes back through the door. He walks up and I'm like, "How we doing, John? Tea, 1 sugar."
Right. Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh my God, that bloke remembers me."
Mate, that's it. Mate, that's the
And
same.
he knows what I drink. Yeah. He feels held and he feels safe.
Yes,
and he
mate.
sits down and he comes back the week after.
Yes, he does.
So that's
And that was
why,
me.
for me, that piece of service that I did there, I could have easily been like, "What do you want?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
still honouring my commitment, but I took it to that next level because I'm being of service and I want to make that person, I want him to get what I've got.
It's my safe place meetings. So I do one on a Monday, Wednesday, sometimes on Friday. But the one I've just been to on Monday, it was I sit down in that seat and I'm like, oh, you feel that ease. Do you know what I mean? These are my people. I can be vulnerable. And then what it is, you don't see vulnerability, especially from males, like in today's society.
No, mate.
Like if I was
Getting a bit better.
if I was down the booze with you, though, how you doing, Stu?
Oh, you ain't getting in there.
No,
Nah.
Yeah, you ain't getting in there, man.
But if someone asked me at a meeting, and again, it wasn't my story from meeting number one, but it's just that level of honesty. I could say, I'm actually feeling a bit shit today.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to say, what do you mean? They're going to say, yeah, me too. Do you know what I mean? And the power in that, it just encourages that vulnerability and honesty. And I think that's one of the big things for me why I feel so at home in our fellowship, because it's just my little safe place and these are my people.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. And it's like that. It just made me think of that fucking nasty statement of "man up." You won't hear that in a fellowship meeting.
Nah.
Never.
But I'm guilty. I was talking about it with my boy. He's like, "I know he ain't hurt his leg," and he's crying. I'm like,
I've done it. I'll do it,
man. And I'm like, "No, you know what? That's wrong. My missus is getting out of it." And mine straight away, because I was talking to Max about it on the way here. I'm like, for fuck's sake, why are we against each other? Pretty much, whenever I have to justify myself, I'm the one who's in the wrong. Right? So now I'm looking at that like, you know what? Why am I saying that to him? Because he is what he is. He's going to be how he's going to be. I can guide him in the right direction. But me saying, "You've got to, you should," and all that, it's just that same stuff that I come up with and rebelled against. You know what I mean? So yeah, you just got me thinking now.
You've got me. Listen, I swear to God, every podcast I do, I take something from at least one thing. And when you just said then, if I have to justify myself, I'm usually in the wrong.
Yeah.
Right? I'm taking that with me today.
Yeah, there you go.
Because-
Well, no, but and it's like, actually, you've caught me.
Yeah, I do it a lot and all that, man. Shit, hell.
Yeah, so do I.
And I will jump on that defensive. That would be my immediate response.
Yeah.
You what? Do you know what I mean?
You know what? That comes down to the secondary stuff with the ADHD. People with ADHD do not like being told what to do.
No.
It's one of the things.
Hate
Eating
it.
clock, right? So my mum suffers with it like low level,
Yeah.
and I suffer with it. And we've got this thing. If I tell my mum something, or she tells me something, both of us straight away are like really prickly with each other. And like we've got a beautiful relationship, right?
Yeah.
But certain things. She used to try and teach me about like how to do a tax return.
Right.
And by the end of it, we're having a fucking screaming match.
Mate,
No
yeah.
tax return's been done.
I know
Yeah.
this one, yeah.
I'm like, why do you talk to me like a condescending teacher? And she's like, why are you acting like a perfect child? And I'm like,
Can't be told.
she don't want to be told. I don't want to be told.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's until someone changes in that relationship, you just got to not do it, innit?
I went and got an accountant.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah, that's
You know
what,
what I
that's what happened. Do you know what? It's funny because I had a conversation this morning. We've got a couple of support workers down, and my thought was I'll go over to the unit later and I will work with one or two. And then someone in the office said to me, "Will you? You're free this afternoon to go and work with one and two, and like whoever the person was." And I was like, "Yeah, but like don't fucking tell me what to do. I was going to do it anyway." Don't assume. But in my head, I was already doing it anyway.
What
do you know
I
what
was
I mean?
just saying to about my missus earlier, the way she just words things, Oh,
It's fucking.
so it's
mad.
like, instead of, can you hold the baby?
Yeah.
Do you want to hold the baby? And I'm like, what do you fucking mean by that? And look, this is one that gets me. I always think of, I was in the dry house and I woke up and I'm like, morning, babe. And she said, morning, hope you had a nice sleep. And I thought,
What do you mean by that?
fuck
Yeah.
does she mean by that?
I get that.
And I'm thinking, because I've messaged her at 9:30 and she's been up since 7,
With the baby.
she's thinking,
Yeah.
have a nice fucking
Yeah.
night.
And you're feeling
Hope you had a
guilt
nice
and
sleep.
anger.
What she meant was, she hopes I had a nice sleep. Right?
I do it all the time.
And I'm like, what does she mean by that?
Yeah.
And I'm starting an argument that there's nothing there.
Mate, listen, and do you know what, right? That is powerful because I've lived like that all my fucking life until I get acceptance around a lot of things. Who I am, my self-confidence naturally has gone up. You know where that high ego, that low self-esteem, when you get that balance there, that thing then dissipates.
Yeah.
For me, it's dissipated because I stop overanalyzing every fucking thing that someone said or done and think it's always about me. That's self-centeredness, isn't it? Yeah.
I get what you're saying though, when it's like that, you meet in the middle, and I wish it stayed there.
It does stay there, though.
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
it goes like
so
that.
hard to control, isn't it?
So it goes like that a little bit. And that's at step 6 and 7, right?
Yeah.
Acting out on defects.
Yeah.
Humbly asking God to remove them. 6, 7, 6, 7, all day. And that's what it is for me. It's not like you go through these steps once and you're fixed. Things pop up on a daily basis
right.
where I have to apply step 1. I apply step 2 and 3 every morning. I do a step 10 every evening. 6 and 7 constantly throughout the day. And if something happens, I'm in an 8 and 9 because I have to make amends. It's like constantly. And then I'm always trying to help the newcomer. So I basically live in step 12.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a one-time deal.
It ain't a
daily
one-time
thing.
deal. It is. And it's like, people say that I've done the steps. You've never done them, man.
No.
You've been
been through
shown
the
them. Yeah, you've been shown the tools. For me, 10, 11 and 12 is where the magic happens. This is what I like to think. Do you know what I mean? It's where the magic happens. And it's like, the more I help others, that is where that self-esteem comes from.
100%.
Yeah. So the ego has to fucking lower if I'm helping someone who's less off than me, right? Mentally, physically, financially, whatever it fucking might be. Yeah. So the ego comes down and the self-esteem's coming up, and that's where that balance. But it don't sit there. It ain't flatlined like that.
Of course it doesn't.
Oh,
It goes up and down. There's peaks and troughs.
Yeah.
Look, I'll tell that one about that day. I was having a fucking bad day. Right? Really bad day. I'm tiling a ceiling, right, in this steam room.
Right.
And I've put all these tiles up. I've come in the next day. I've pulled one of the spaces out, and the whole fucking thing has just gone smash.
Hold on.
Wrong type of plaster. It's not been prepped properly. Now it makes me look bad. Bearing in mind, I've tiled the whole floor. It's all finished. Smashed to pieces. Everything's smashed.
Right.
I'm thinking I'm going there to grout up, get paid.
Yeah.
I'm back to square one, right? I nearly ran away. I didn't.
Right.
I didn't.
That's a
That'd be my go-to.
yeah. That'd be my go-to and all.
I cleaned up. I replaced a few tiles. We changed the type of tile, the type of plaster I was using on the ceiling. Put in some action. After that, I went to Chelmsford Prison to do a H&I share.
Nice.
On the wing, sharing
Wicked.
to
Yeah,
12,
yeah,
15 prisoners. Some of them do big, long stretches. All of a sudden, I'm not having such a fucking bad day anymore. They're like, some tiles fell off the ceiling, but I get to walk out of it.
Mate, you're having a good
And then
day.
I'll go and meet one of my sponsees and I'll go through a step 4 with him. And by the end of the day, I am buzzing because I've got out of self
Yes.
into service.
Yes.
And my ego went down and my self-esteem went through.
Mate, this is it. And do you know what? You're like, it's putting things into perspective, isn't it? Yeah. So, like, my little girl, you've had to apply for school. She's 4. She goes to school September. And I'm not with her mum, but we spoke about the schools and we're all like, we're having these conversations about which school, that school, this school, looking at that, this and that and the other. And then my little girl has had an underlying condition, I believe, for a while. And now we're under Evelina Hospital in London, right? And it looks like she could have an issue. We'll find out next week, hopefully. I don't give a fuck what school she goes to anymore. I don't care.
No.
Do you see what I'm saying? This is about perspective in life as well, isn't it? So sometimes you know, what's that saying? Don't sweat the small stuff. Right? It's like it is literally having that perspective, I think, on things because life on life's terms, but don't stress the fucking arse out of it.
Everything goes all right, mate.
Yeah, sweet. Thank you. Yeah,
Step
appreciate that.
Step 2 talks about perspective, doesn't it? Because for me, even right now, I've got like an underwhelming situation or completely overwhelming situation. And they call it like the insanity around your perspective mine's just off key a lot of the time. and it's just trying to find that level ground. And I'm getting better at it, but I can really overreact to real small little things, and then something huge would happen, like to do with my kids or my missus, and I could just, it won't even bother me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like the small thing that acts in the room.
Mate,
They
innit?
get you.
Yeah, that's a killer, that, isn't it?
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
Listen-
big stuff you can step up, and then like you say, one wrong word, and I'm like, what?
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyone who's watching and listening to this, right, listening to 3 recovered addicts, right, and how our mindsets work, they must be sitting there thinking, what the fuck?
Yeah,
You know?
it's mental,
Mate,
but-
that's exhausting, man.
Yeah.
Isn't it exhausting?
It can be, but look, I always say this: if you want to know what's really exhausting, try using drugs every day. This is a fucking walking.
Yeah, mate, 100%.
That's that life.
It's a blessed, peaceful existence. And you know, like go back to your darkest day and yourself and me, and then imagine sitting here now doing what we're doing. You can't see that, can you?
No, of course not.
You can't see that, man.
I
So-
thought I was going to use every day until I died.
Yeah, so
That's what I thought.
yeah, same. And so this, to me, like you say, life now is no matter what the situation, even personal stuff like I was just sharing then, right? I feel strong enough in here to deal with whatever comes my way because of the tools that have been given,
Yeah,
freely shown, like they have you and you and all it.
I think one of the positive things you said, Stu, like when you had that thought about doing a podcast, you just went into action and did it. I think that's one of the big positives that I do get from being an addict is that when I want to do something, because like the normal people out there, yeah, they might still come to the same conclusion eventually, but I've got that. My missus says to me all the time, "You've got that fire in your belly when you got that idea and you want to go for it." I think the difference is nowadays that I discuss it and make sure it's the right thing to do instead of straight. Go on.
Yeah, but deep down, you know you're doing it anyway.
Yeah. My mate in the dry house, shout out Danny Leonard. He calls me Chrissy 2 Feet. He's like, anything you do, you just jump into it.
Mate,
Yeah.
No, but it's good
Straight away.
straight away. Do you know what? I think it's important. I do think that's important. The world can't have the same people, right?
Yeah.
So this mindset that we're sharing here is important because that's how shit gets done.
It actually is.
It is, though, isn't it?
It really is. If it wasn't for obsessive people, we wouldn't have moved on as a society.
Mate,
I mean, I wish there wasn't 15 years of like devastating drug abuse
yeah.
for me to get to this point. And look, I say that in jest. I'm grateful
Yeah.
for what I went through because I wouldn't be the person I am today.
100%.
And I caused a lot of carnage, and there's a lot of things that I regret. Luckily, I've got a step 8 and 9 to work, and I can make amends for them behaviours. But I wouldn't change a day of it
No,
because now I'm in the position I'm in today, and I've never felt better.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have this without that.
yeah, man. That's beautifully said. Right, and we're coming to the end. So
Yeah, man.
I would like ask guests the same question, a little bit of advice to anyone who's struggling, yeah? And do you know what? Normally, the answer is different because obviously people talk differently, but the content is the same. So I want to see if it is again now. So Max, first, man, what would be your piece of advice to anyone who's struggling with addiction?
Get honest with someone. Get honest with someone that you can trust. I think the amount of people that I speak to who are early on in recovery, Stu, have not been honest for a long, long time. And that might be saying to you down the pub, "How you doing, Stu?" And you say back to me, "Yeah, I'm fine." That's dishonesty for me. And I think try and get honest with that one person and fundamentally get yourself into a meeting, whatever that fellowship would be. For me, my life has changed dramatically since coming into recovery. I tried it on my terms for a long, long time. And every single time I was on that carousel of insanity, doing the same things, expecting different results and always hurting my loved ones around me. And since coming into recovery, it's changed everything. And that ripple effect now, my missus has peace of mind, my mum and dad have peace of mind. I've got all my friends and family back in my life. And really the only thing that I've changed is getting into recovery. So that'd be me.
Beautiful.
If someone's out there struggling with addiction and they know they're an addict, it's basically a one-way ticket. It's only going in one direction and it ain't going to get any better.
Never.
That person could decide to get off of that whenever they want. Help is available, right? If they're listening to this, they're already on the right track, yeah? For me, let me try that way. Oh, that don't work. Let me try that way. That don't work. Let me just tell you now, none of it works. There's only one way, and that is get honest, get in a 12-step program, get a sponsor, and get through the work.
Yeah, man.
You can decide when to do that. You can do it now, or you can do it in 10 years' time when you cause another load of carnage. So my advice to anyone is don't wait to make the change doing that.
Wicked. Chris, thank you very much.
Thanks very
Gentlemen,
much, man.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Cheers. Good man. Thank you. Cheers, bro. Wicked.
Guys, I hope you're enjoying the Sober Stew podcast and the episode today. Listen, I'm asking for a massive favour here. If you like the show, you like the podcast, and you feel like you're getting relevant content from it, please like and subscribe and share the channel, yeah? The way I see this is the more people know about this channel, the more chance we've got of spreading the message of recovery. And that might change one person's life. And if we do, that's enough. But let's look at it in a different way. If we save one person's life, that's massive. Please like, share, subscribe. God bless.
Trying to be the best I could be and achieve my dreams. They ain't really been where I've been. They ain't seen what I seen. They ain't felt what I felt. And the smartest thing I done was reach out for help. Now I'm flying by myself.